Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist.
Steve Johnson, the head basketball coach of the Jackson Timberwolves, and coach, coming up a nice victory last Friday against Snohomish, 80-60. Talk about that ball game.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. We obviously played well offensively, with 80 points, and we wanted to bounce back. That was kind of our third straight win after a couple losses in a row. I thought we came out with good energy, particularly to open up the second half. So, just kind of keep getting better and hopefully see the results on Tuesdays and Fridays moving forward.
Sam Saufer came in. He's had a great few years, but it seemed like teams were really keying on him earlier in the season. He wasn't getting the looks or the scoring that we all expected, and then it seems like there's been a turnaround, and he's been scoring really well lately. Talk about that and what we can attribute that turnaround to.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you'd say that. I might not entirely agree with the way you characterize that. I mean, I think he was in double digits early in the season. I mean, I think you're talking about the Glacier Peak game, which seems like yesterday and seems like a lifetime ago. At the same time, as we get old, these things they sort of fly by, but they sort of don't. If you know what I'm saying. But anyway, they played a box and one, and occasionally some teams have gone that route. But I mean, to be honest with you, we've got most games we've had 3 or 4 people in double digits. I think teams realize that. That a couple times people have gone to a box and one or something like that. We've gotten immediate layups, and so we made them pay for it, so to speak. And I think other guys are doing a good job of finding him and getting him open. But I think it's really the fact that we've had good all-around balance. Ironically, you wouldn't, paradoxically, I guess you'd say you wouldn't think that would work. But he's been able to have some big games because I think there's the threat and reality of good balance overall.
One of the players that maybe doesn't get as much press, but I think is doing a really nice job, is Jordan Brasich coming in. Talk about his game.
Yeah, he is doing a real nice job. Very solid. He had 8 assists, 1 turnover Friday night against Snohomish. His assist-to-turnover ratio is really, really good throughout the season. He's a guy who stepped up, taking advantage of opportunities. Very, very solid. Solid kid, solid player. 3-sport athlete. Which is fun to see. He's a golfer and a quarterback in football. A real heady player and a good athlete. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to be in the right spots on the floor. He knows, a good decision maker, and he's also knocked down some shots for us as well. Back to my, the earlier point about kind of spreading the floor and making it open for other people.
And an important part of any program, the assistant coaches, and talk about yours.
Well, I'm really blessed. It's kind of ironic you asked that tonight because 1 week ago tonight I was sick and missed my first game in about 20 years of coaching. And so my assistant coach, Joe Maher, who's got about 35 years of coaching, I used to be his assistant back in the day at Woodinville. Now he volunteers and helps me. He's coached at the college level. He's coached NBA players in the past. So he's just a real benefit to have. And then Coach Condotta, JV coach, went to school here, has been with me a long time. And then Coach Soth and the freshman is new to our program this year. But yeah, no doubt it's great to have a staff that is so experienced and so committed to the program, and they're a big part of our success, no doubt.
And finally, tonight against Lake Stevens. Lake Stevens really has turned their program around and are playing very well this year and comes off a big victory over Kamiak. Talk about tonight's ball game.
Yeah, they're playing well. I mean, scouting and watching them on film and getting ready for the game. They really look like a lot different team than we played in December. Their guard, number 2. I should go by numbers. I'm sorry. He's playing really well, handling the ball, and they get some. They're getting some scoring from some other guys. And pretty good balance with that team as well. No doubt they're playing a lot better, and should be a challenge tonight.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill Kusler, with both head coaches, Mark Hind of the Lake Stevens Vikings, and just a moment ago there with Steve Johnson of the Jackson Timberwolves. Bill, let's talk about the players to watch here in a moment. Let's take a look at the standings. And the Vikings, although they haven't locked up a postseason spot, they're getting close, and they kind of stumbled coming out of the gate.
Yeah, they did indeed. They're down, but they're starting to knock off some of the teams in the middle that are battling out for those playoff spots, and then all of a sudden they come up with a huge win, a home win against Kamiak, a pretty big upset. And so you have Cascade at 9-0, and then Kamiak at Jackson at 7-2. But Lake Stevens then in 4th place out of the 8 teams, 4-5. Mariner 3-6, and then Monroe, Snohomish, and Mount Vernon all at 2-7. And so they lost 4 of their first 5, and then they had that 4-game winning streak, and that really gave them confidence in the latter parts of the season.
And let's talk about the players to watch for Lake Stevens. Coach Steve Johnson kind of said, who's number 2?
Number 2 is Ryder Kavanaugh, just a sophomore. He's averaging 10 points per ball game, but really, runs the show out there, out on. Been in the Lake Stevens program, ever since he was a little kid. Been around for summer camps and different things, and he's really emerged as a nice floor leader as a sophomore.
And now the Jackson Timberwolves find themselves in a battle with Kamiak for that all-important number 2 slot behind the undefeated Cascade Bruins, so their job is not done by any means.
Yeah, they want to get one of those top 2 positions so that they can get a bye in the first round of the district tournament. And Jackson, they struggle a little bit coming out of the gate, and then they're a normal Jackson team. They are so well coached and have such a tradition here that they've done very well to get 7-2 in league. And of course for Jackson, Sam Salfer averaging 20 points per ball game. He had 32 the other night against Mount Vernon. Brian Brown averaging 14 points per game. Faddis inside at 11 points per ball game. And Brasich, averaging around 7, but also really showing some good floor leadership and really dishing the ball well. So those guys playing really well. And of course Lake Stevens, we talked about Ryder Kavanaugh, but Dante Lewis, kind of the heart and soul of that ball club, averaging almost 13 points per ball game. And then Trey Pavitt, who's a junior, has been starting since he was a freshman. And we were commenting on the fact that he has a full beard out there. It looks like he's about 30 years old, except for he's still a junior. But I think this will be a very interesting ball game. Lake Stevens riding high after that big upset victory, and it should be an excellent challenge for them tonight.
Well, it was interesting. Steve Johnson also said in your interview back in their first meeting in mid-December, it wasn't really close, but he said this is a completely different team than we're watching wearing purple tonight.
Yeah, exactly. They have really come on and gelled as a team. Lots of chemistry. Coach Hine was talking to me before the ball game. Great chemistry on this ball game, and ball club, and they really want to be successful for some of those seniors that they look up to so much.
Jackson won at 82-64 in the first go-round back on the 18th of December. Faddis had 21 for Jackson, Salfer 18, Brown 16 for Lake Stevens in that same game. Perry with 13, Bardu with 10. We're getting ready for the introduction of the starting lineups, and we'll do that right now. First for the Lake Stevens Vikings, coming in at 4-5 in league play, 8-8 overall. Their head coach Mark Hine will send 6-foot sophomore Ryder Kavanaugh, Wyatt Wahlberg, a 6'2 junior, Dante Lewis, a 6'2 senior, Connor Bardu, a 6-foot sophomore, and Trey Pavitt, a 6'4 junior. So Kavanaugh and Wahlberg, Lewis, Bardu, and Pavitt, the starters for the Lake Stevens Vikings. For the Jackson Timberwolves, 7-2 in league play, 10-5 overall. Brian Brown, a 6'1 senior. Parker Manalo, a 6'2 junior. Jordan Brasich, a 6'1 junior. Sam Salfer, a 6'1 senior. And Colton Faddis, a 6'6 senior. So Brown and Manalo, Brasich, Salfer, and Faddis. And Bill, we talked about Steve Johnson and the job he does coaching here, and we kind of joked, they're fresh out of Kingma's and Todd's, so he's really shown that, oh, by the way, he could always coach, too. Just when you have those D1 players, that's nice, too.
Right. You get teams like that with so much talent, and they, people might kind of say, well, I could coach that team to victory.
Yeah, you have to unlock the gym door.
But,
right?
Guess what? No, you can't. It really takes good coaching. He is an excellent coach, and Coach Hine is a really, really good coach, too, and he's had some in the Pahukoa years, and, those guys a few years back, they were really strong. They just had kind of a dearth of talent the last few years and are building up the program this year.
We will come back with tonight's opening tip-off and game action. Lake Stevens, Jackson, we're live in Mill Creek tonight right here on Fox Sports 1380.
early light, what so proudly real at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in there, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Tonight's game is being broadcast live all over Snohomish County and Western Washington on Fox Sports 1380, KRKO Radio, and KRKO.com. Calling the action tonight are Tom Lafferty. Join Fox Sports 1380.
We are live tonight from the Jackson High School Gymnasium in Mill Creek for Western Conference 4A League boys matchup between the Jackson Timberwolves and the Lake Stevens Vikings. Hello once again, everybody. Tom Lafferty along with Bill Coos, our statistician Pat Castro. Audio graphics tonight by Buddy Patrick. Our in-studio network producer is Brandon Hamilton. Todd Elvig at the controls for STSPN, and we are underway here at Jackson High School. The referee, Brett McIntyre, throws the ball up. Rob Knifer, Jeff Sidoris are the umpires, and we're underway. Jackson controls, moving to our left. Jackson, the home team in their white uniforms. Moving to the left, and it's Parker Manalo, top of the key. Swing it to Saufer. He'll shoot a three. First shot of the game won't go, but it's going to be flagged down by Brian Brown. Saves it from going out of bounds at the far side. They'll swing it inside to Faddis. Back out, open. Bracich shoots offline for three. No good. 2 threes up, no threes in, and Vikings will take it. Lake Stevens grabs the rebound. Lake Stevens, the visiting team tonight in their traveling purple uniforms with gold numbers and white trim, moving to our right here in this first quarter, and they have it to our right, top of the key. Swing it down to Connor Bardew, down low. He found Ryder Kavanaugh for the lay-in, but he missed that, but the putback is up, and it is good there by Trey Pavitt, and it's a 2-0 lead. Lake Stevens with the early lead here, just a minute or so into the ball game.
Lake Stevens, a little matchup 2-3 zone action.
Feed it down to the baseline. Back out. It goes to, comes off, no good. That was a miss by Faddis. So 3 shots up there by Jackson in the ball game so far, and nothing's gone down, and Lake Stevens has it. Rifle pass over the right-hand side. That's Pavitt. Back out to the top of the key, and now they'll set up the half-court offense. On top is Pavitt. Pavitt had it, and we're going to call it a traveling call. So a turnover, and Pavitt will turn it over on the travel. Bardew travels, and it will be Jackson basketball down 2-0 here, a minute and a half in to the opening quarter of action here at Jackson High School in Mill Creek.
The thing that Lake Stevens is going to have to deal with is Faddis being 2 inches taller than anyone else on the floor. Jackson coming in, trying to play inside out, getting the ball into Faddis, who's kicking the ball out, but they're in that 2-3 matchup zone to try to take Faddis away at the high post.
Dante Lewis picks up the first foul of the ball game. First personal, first team foul for Lake Stevens. It'll be a Jackson basketball. Faddis to the baseline off the fingertips of Brian Brown. I'm not sure he was expecting the pass to come down his way. A turnover, and it'll be Lake Stevens basketball. A 2-0 lead. About 5 seconds away from 2 minutes into this ball game. Wesco 4A battle here at Jackson High School tonight. Tom Lafferty with Bill Kusler. Glad you're with us here on a Tuesday night in Mill Creek. Top of the key, Dante Lewis dribbles to the baseline, closed off there. Kick it back out top of the key to Pavitt. And now they'll to Bardou, now to Dante Lewis. Lewis a dribble across the left side and swing it back over. The right-hand hook up, no good. Missed by Pavitt, controlled by Jackson. Here come the T-Wolves out of backcourt. Jordan Brasich, quarterback of the football team, kind of quarterbacks it here as he brings it across the timeline. Left side, Souther is open, shoots a three, rims off, no good. Kept alive by Pavitt, grabbed by Bardou. Here come the Vikings, leading it 2-0 here. Low scoring affair so far here. Pavitt has it right wing at the baseline. Closed off there by Faddis, so back to Bardou. Bardou will give it off to Wahlberg, goes in with the left hand. It's up, it's going to be a miss, no good, but the putback is up, and it is in again by Trey Pavitt.
Well, Jackson is going to have to start hitting from the outside. They want to break Lake Stevens out of that zone, and the only way to do that effectively is to start hitting the shots from outside, but they don't do it there.
And they don't do it. They commit the turnover, and it's going to be kind of picked off there by Ryder Kavanaugh. Now Bardou goes in amongst the trees, lays it up high off the window and in, and it's a 6-0 lead. And then a turnover by Jackson. They stepped on the timeline, or on the out-of-bounds line, on the inbounds. Heads up by the Rob Knifer to see that. He says, you know what, it's Lake Stevens basketball. They have a 6-0 lead and the rock. Trey Pavitt on the inbounds, way out top of the key. Swinging around, Dante Lewis goes in, puts the shoulder down, and they're going to call a foul on the deck, I think, before he started to lean in for that shot. And they're going to whistle this one on Jackson's Jordan Brasich. 6'1" junior picks up his first personal foul, first team foul. Out of bounds, baseline, fresh 35 in the shot clock. Now for Lake Stevens. Bardou gets it on the inbound. Now Dante Lewis to Pavitt, backing in, puts up the elbow, puts up the shot, misses, no good. Tap up, no good. Over the back, I think they're going to call Wyatt Wahlberg for going over the top. They will.
Jackson's defense, they're playing really tough. They're forcing Lake Stevens into some difficult shots, but they're not blocking out, and so Pavitt has been able to clean up twice to give them 4 of their 6 points.
First personal foul, second team foul. And it's now Jackson basketball for Lake Stevens. Logan Bremner checks in. Connor Widman also checks in now. Here's Souther. He nails that 3 ball. You knew eventually they were going to start going down, and it does. And he cuts that 6-point lead in half to 6-3 Lake Stevens off Souther's 3-pointer.
Souther's gotten a bunch of good looks. He's only been able to put 1 down, but if they keep giving him looks like that, he's going to kill them from out there.
Pavitt, unconventional shot, misses it, no good, from about 18 feet away. And Brown brings it out of backcourt for Jackson. Moving to our left, Jackson, the home team, in the white uniforms. Black numbers, green trim. Steve Johnson yelling instructions at his team. Deep in the left-hand corner, Manalo shoots an air ball. That 19-footer went about 21 feet, but it was knocked out of bounds. Last touch there by Lake Stevens, so it'll be Jackson basketball. 18 on the shot clock, and never caught iron from the corner.
Logan Bremner's in the ball game, and that bounced off of his head. He wasn't even looking at the ball as it came across.
Inbounds now, Manalo has it. 15 to shoot. Souther, top of the key. They work the perimeter left-hand side to the baseline. Brown goes in, blocked out of there. Blocked by Connor Widman. And out of backcourt, here comes Lake Stevens. To the top of the key, Ryder Kavanaugh fell down. Brasich is with him. He's kind of spinning around on the floor, and he finds Brian Brown, but he plays for Jackson, going down the other way. Manalo with the laying up and good, and it's a 1-point ball game. Lake Stevens 6-5.
Lake Stevens got the ball inside, but Kavanaugh falls down, and then Jackson with a picture-perfect fast break. Pass, then pass back for the lay-in.
First meeting back on the 18th of December, Jackson won it 82-64. It's 6-5 now, Lake Stevens, and the Vikings with the basketball. Left side, Connor Widman, now top of the key. Long 3 that will not go. Way out, top of the key. Dante Lewis with the miss, and Jackson with a chance for the lead as Brian Brown swings it past left-hand side. Manalo 3 won't go. High off the backboard, a miss, and Pavitt grabs the rebound. And here comes Lake Stevens now. Dante Lewis has it at the left wing.
Pavitt with 4 rebounds already in the game.
And Pavitt with the basketball. He goes in, spins, and puts up the hook shot, the sky hook. Reminiscent of Abdul Jabbar, and it goes down, and it's an 8-5 lead.
Pavitt only averaging 7 points per ball game, but he already has 6 in this one. He's been very active.
Brian Brown left the baseline. Double team there. Kind of throws a wobbly pass, and it's going to be picked off there. Interception by Lake Stevens. We saw that a lot during football. They get it here in the basketball. There's Pavitt all by himself behind the defense. They all went out to get the ball. They got it fumbled it for a second, and then Pavitt puts it up and in, and it's a 10-5 lead. And then on the other end, Saufer goes in for the lay and misses. He'll have to earn him at the free throw line.
Well, Lake Stevens doing a nice job again inside, but they need to get back because Jackson out on the break, and Saufer had a good look to draw the foul.
Trey Pavitt has 8 of the 10 points so far for the Lake Stevens Vikings. We're at minute 59 to play in the first quarter. Logan Bremner with the foul. That's his first personal foul and the third team foul. And free throw here for Saufer. First one will not go. He will get another.
And Coach Mark Hine for Lake Stevens really shuttling players in and out in a hurry. He's going about 9 deep on the bench already.
Next one by Saufer. That one will go. So it's a 10-6 lead for Lake Stevens, and they have the basketball. Moving to our right in their purple traveling uniforms, gold numbers, white trim. Connor Bardew with it. Out of top of the key. Swinging it over to the right-hand side, Logan Bremner. Bremner looking down low. Instead, he'll go to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh puts down the shoulder, kind of goes in, steps one way, steps around. Saufer puts up a shot, no good. Rebound controlled there by Widman. Back out for a 3-ball good by Ryder Kavanaugh. A good inside-out play out for Kavanaugh for the 3.
Yeah, Widman, nice job. Doesn't he look like his dad?
He does look like his dad. Dribble drive left-hand side. That to the baseline is Manalo along the baseline. He stepped on the baseline. So a turnover by Jackson, and Jackson has committed 5 turnovers here. About 6.5 minutes into the contest. Brian Brown will go to the bench, and Connor Marshall will check in for him.
I guess I should say he looks like his dad looked in high school, like not like his dad looks now.
Oh, no.
Disclaimer.
Out of backcourt, here comes Lake Stevens, leading it 13-6, a 7-point lead. Biggest lead of the game for Lake Stevens. Jackson has not led in the contest so far. 1:04 to play in the opening quarter. Bardew, bad pass to Susie, the third cheerleader in from the left. But
she didn't have very good hands.
No, she didn't. She just watched it sail by. And so it'll be into the crowd. So a turnover committed by the Lake Stevens Vikings. That's their third turnover. We're inside a minute to play here in the opening quarter. That's Bracich, top of the key. And a foul's going to be called, an offensive foul, moving screen. They're going to call it illegal screen on Colton Faddis. Is it bad when you knock over 3 guys when you're trying to set a screen? I guess so.
He's a big, strong kid, but Lake Stevens gets the ball back with a surprising 7-point lead.
45 seconds to play in the first quarter. Connor Bardew with the basketball, left wing. Guarded out there by Islam Oltaki. Now to the top of the key, Kavanaugh. 19 to shoot. Swing a pass to the right baseline. Closed off there for Markel McFerrin. Back out to Bardew. Bardew with 11 to shoot. Back out. On left-hand side. 3 on the way. Won't go. Nothing but glass on that one. That's a miss there by Connor Widman. And out of backcourt, here comes Jackson with 18 seconds to play in the quarter. Shot clock is dead. Bracich, Oltaki, back to Bracich out between the circles. Saufer back to Bracich as they work the perimeter. 10 seconds to go in the quarter. Bracich again, down to 6 seconds to go. Bracich gets it back, looking for Saufer with 3 seconds to go. Dribbles into the paint, puts it up with the right hand. Short arms it, no good, and Jackson did not get a good look there as they had the ball with about 18 seconds to go in the first quarter. We played 1 quarter of action here at Jackson High School. Our score, it's Lake Stevens Vikings 13, the Jackson Timberwolves 6. You're watching and listening to Snohomish County Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com and Fox Sports 1380.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Action here at Jackson High School, Mill Creek. The Lake Stevens Vikings visitors tonight, leading at 13-6, and they have the basketball to start the second stanza. And they'll work it right side. Looks like most of the starters are back in now for Jackson. As they swing it right-hand side, Markel McFerrin, though it was not in the starting lineup, back to the baseline to Widman. Now back out, left-hand runner up and in by Ryder Kavanaugh.
Lake Stevens 6 for 15 from the field, 37% in the first quarter, 1 for 3 from three-point range. Jackson just 2 of 10 from the field and 1 of 6 from three-point range. They hit 1 of 2 free throws.
The lead is 9 points, biggest lead of the game. A turnaround jumper is going to be no good by Faddis, and a foul called off the rebound. And it looks like that's going to send Islam Oltaki to the free throw. No free throws. They can say it's on the deck. The lead is 9 points for Lake Stevens. They have yet to relinquish the lead in this ball game. Jackson down by 9. Jackson inbounds off the foul that was whistled there on Markel McFerrin. His first personal foul and the 4th team foul. Down low, Faddis. Nice ball movement there by Jackson.
And Bracich has been doing that all season long. Just a beautiful assist inside to Faddis for 2.
Kavanaugh brings it out of back court with a right-handed dribble, swings it around the perimeter right side, Pavitt in the corner. As Faddis is on him, closes it off to him, back out to the top to McFerrin. Now to Dante Lewis, turnaround jumper from about 16, won't go, and Faddis grabs the rebound for Jackson. Here come the Timberwolves down by 7 here on their home floor. Oltaki, right wing, double team there. Somebody's got to be open. And if it's going to be Salford, no, immediately he was not open, then he'll stop and pop it from 17 left baseline.
That's just a beautiful jump stop and getting really high up in the air to put that ball down. Salford just has some nice moves off the dribble.
And here's a travel on the other end on Dante Lewis of Lake Stevens, so they'll turn the ball over. It'll be Jackson basketball. It was 9-point lead a moment ago, and the lead is now 5 points and a timeout called by the Jackson. Well, we're going to wait to see, but we're going to take a break anyway. 6:24 to go in the first half. 15-10 the score, the lead for Lake Stevens. This is Snohomish County Western Conference basketball on SDSPN.com and Fox Sports 1380. With the basketball, Lake Stevens called that timeout. That 9-point lead suddenly was 5 points, now at 15-10, and it's Jackson basketball. Bracich out of back court.
Might want to do, it's great that they're posting him in low, make one move, but then a quick pass to the outside will break somebody open for a 3 look.
Bracich, bounce pass to Brown, back to Faddis again. Salford's open for a 3, it settles and it goes, and he ties the score at 15 all.
Salford now with 9 points to lead Jackson.
15-15 tie, 5:35 to go here in the first half of action at Jackson High School. Top of the key, Connor Bardou to Dante Lewis. Lewis at the left wing. They're looking down low to Pavitt. They find him. Pavitt at the baseline. It goes around Faddis. Kick it back out to Wahlberg. Wahlberg then, and there's another turnover. That's 6 turnovers for Lake Stevens. And on consecutive possessions, they turn it over on a miscue, that time by Connor Bardou. And it'll be right back to Jackson. A chance to take their first lead in this ball game.
Well, Jackson was up behind 15-6 and has scored 9 unanswered points, and so they did not panic.
Oltaki puts it up with the right hand, no good. Brown back down, blocked out of bounds by Pavitt. So Jackson will retain possession, but a block shot there with 5:03 to go in the first half. A 15-15 tie. Jackson with the basketball. On the inbounds, Brasic calls play number 1 with the right hand. Saufer back to Brasic again. Looking to bounce it to Faddis. He does. He gets about quadruple team. That means you cannot leave him open. That's Saufer with a 3.
He missed a couple, but now that zone is not rotating around quickly enough to prevent him from shooting, and Coach Mark Heiden is going to have a decision to make to try to get somebody on him, and whether he can afford to stay in the zone or whether he's going to have to start going man.
It was a 9-point lead for Lake Stevens. It's a 3-point lead for Jackson. And now Lake Stevens with the basketball with 13 to shoot. Pavitt at the left baseline. Stop and pop. Puts up an air ball, no good. Saufer grabs the rebound for Jackson. Here come the Timberwolves, a chance to increase their lead. Jordan Brasic on top. On the dribble, give it up to Saufer. He just leaves it there for Brasic, who gets it back. Over to Otaki, back to Brasic again. Dribbling in, trying to penetrate this defense, but the best way to do that is with Saufer with a jumper, and he puts it up. This one won't go. Otaki, though, grabs the offside rebound back out. They'll reset the offense with a fresh 35 to shoot. Around the left-hand side, wide open. Saufer, that 3 will not go. Brasic, though, keeps it alive. Another offensive rebound for the Jackson Timberwolves and a fresh 35.
That's another problem when you're in a zone. You got to find somebody to block out right away, and Jackson really hitting the offensive boards.
5 offensive rebounds so far in the ball game here, and here's Brasic, shoots a 3, too long, no good, from way out, top of the key, and Connor Bardou grabs the rebound for Lake Stevens. Down by 3 are the Vikings. They bring it out of backcourt. Lewis has it, turns, spins, puts it up, no good, foul call. Jordan Brasic, I think, is going to be the guilty party here, as Lewis kind of put on a move on him and spun him around, and Brasic really had much of a choice, and he's going to pick up his second personal foul, and that's going to, I think, earn him, third team foul, earn him a trip to the bench. Free throw, first one by Lewis is good. Manalo checks in, Marshall checks in, Bardou is out, and Islam Oltaki will check out for Jackson as well. So next free throw coming up here for Dante Lewis, the 6'2 junior. And Lewis, leading scorer for the Vikings at 12.9 points per ball game, hits the next one, and it's a 1-point lead for Jackson. And now going down, and some early offense there. Waited, the defense didn't even get there, and Brian Brown spun around, put it up and in, and opens up again a 3-point lead for Jackson. Connor Bardou at the right wing in front of Steve Johnson, the coach, and he puts up a 3-ball air ball that won't go. Have we seen more air balls tonight on threes?
Yeah, we have, and what they need to do, post it into low, have it, pop it back out, and then you're taking that 3 in rhythm rather than just gunning it. Lake Stevens now, really working to try to double team Saufer.
And here's Dante Lewis with a steal and a miss on the lay-in, no good. Back up, it's going to be a miss, no good by Wahlberg. So a steal, but they get nothing out of it with 2 point-blank lay-ins. It won't go, but Brian Brown says, here's how you do it. And he does it on the other end. 2 consecutive possessions, 2 consecutive lay-ins, and it's a 22-17 lead and a whistle on the other end.
I'm so impressed with Brian Brown because he's so quick to the basket, and he puts the ball up so quickly. It doesn't allow anybody to get a hand in there or tip it or anything. He's got really good timing and rhythm when he gets to the hole.
Bardou will have a seat, and for Lake Stevens, Logan Bremner returns to the fray. And here we go. Inbounds, Pavitt has it at the baseline with that full beard. He looks like Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Closed off at the baseline. They'll swing it out to Kavanaugh. Little runner with the right hand won't go. And Brian Brown grabs another rebound, and quickly out of backcourt, he just races everybody down there to Manalo. His reverse lay-in's no good. Kept alive by Jackson. They have it again. Brown has it. Rifles a pass to Marshall for the lay-in. It's up and good. And a timeout called by Lake Stevens. We'll step aside with 2:05 to play here in the first half of action. Biggest lead of the game for Jackson, 24-17 over Lake Stevens. Snohomish County Western Conference Basketball at STSPN.com and Fox Sports 1380. 16-2 run for Jackson, and they lead it 24-17. Now Lake Stevens with the basketball. Trey Pavitt backing in against Faddis, puts it up too hard, no good. Rebound grabbed down by Brown, and a backcourt here they come. He has 7 rebounds and 3. I think that's 3 lay-ins in a row for Brian Brown every time he comes down. And Bill, he looks like it's shot out of a cannon when he gets the ball.
He is so confident going to the hole, and I think that the defenders are just waiting for him to dish off, and he is so quick. And, under pressure, to have the presence of mind to kiss it soft off of the glass when you have those guys riding you, that's a real skill. And Brian Brown has showed that all season long as he converts a 3-point play.
And that makes it a 10-point lead. So this game has had a 19-point turnaround. Lake Stevens in this quarter led by 9. Jackson leads by 10 right now. Trey Pavitt puts it up, and that breaks a scoreless strain, it's a strain if you're a Lake Stevens fan, and they get the bucket, and it's a 27-19, Jackson by 8. 1-2-3 to play here in the first half.
And Lake Stevens, as we said, Southwell hitting all those shots. They've been forced to go out of their zone, and they're playing man-to-man now.
Connor Marshall over to Southfur. Somebody's on him now, and he won't have quite the open shot, so he puts up a kind of a leaning backer, and it won't go, but the putback is up and in by Colton Faddis. Faddis gets the offensive rebound off the miss by Southfur.
That's Jackson's 7th offensive rebound in the first half.
Inside 1 minute to play here in the first half. Lake Stevens with the basketball. Trey Pavitt stops and pops too hard off the window, no good. Faddis grabs another rebound, and a blocking foul is going to be called in backcourt. Ryder Kavanaugh was right in the grill of Brown trying to come out of backcourt, and they'll call him for the foul. That's only the 4th team foul on 6th team foul, on Lake Stevens. Only 4 have been called here. And the first personal foul on Ryder Kavanaugh of the Vikings. Manalo out of backcourt. Gives some directions with his right hand to Southfur. He will dump a pass down low to Faddis, puts it up off the glass. It won't go. Tap up, no good. Marshall gets it. It rims out, no good. Faddis gets another rebound. Back up, it won't go. And the rebound's going to be controlled by Wyatt Wahlberg. And here comes Lake Stevens. 24 to go, and he just pulls up and casts off, and it won't go. That's a miss by Kavanaugh, and the return fire put up, no good by Brown. Everybody kind of stopped there for a second, thinking there was going to be a foul call. There wasn't. So on we play. 9 seconds to go. Lake Stevens basketball. That's Pavitt down to 5, down to 4. In the corner it goes. Lewis puts it up too hard, no good. Down to 1 second, and this half will draw to a close. And Bill, what a half it was for the Jackson Timberwolves. From down by 7 at the quarter break, and they outscore, I've got to do the math, that's 6 for Lake Stevens, and that is 23 for the Jackson Timberwolves.
Yeah,
wow.
that was just an outstanding effort to turn that thing around for Jackson, and Lake Stevens really was Jackson's defense that really keyed that, because they were forcing Lake Stevens into taking some really difficult shots. They stopped hitting, and then the transition game where Brian Brown had 3 consecutive streaks to the hoop for lay-in. Southford hit a couple of threes. They forced Lake Stevens to go out of the defense they wanted to play and go into man-to-man, and just not enough firepower, and Jackson kind of taking control of things.
Now stand by for our halftime features from here at Jackson High School. Our score at the half is the Jackson Timberwolves 29, the Lake Stevens Vikings 19. This is Snohomish County Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com and Fox Sports 1380.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Two.
Welcome back to Jackson High School. This is Bill Kusler along with Tom Lafferty with a score at halftime. The Jackson Timberwolves leading the Lake Stevens Vikings by a score of 29-19. Lake Stevens shooting just 29% in the first half, 8 for 27. Jackson 12 for 32, 37%. Jackson 3 of 10 from three-point range. Lake Stevens just 1 for 5. Leader scores for Jackson, Sam Saufer with 12 points, Brian Brown with 7. Leading scores for Lake Stevens, Trey Pavitt with 10. Ryder Kavanaugh with 5, and the big other stat is Brian Brown had 9 first-half rebounds.
Here we go, second half underway. Jackson controls, moving to our right in their home white uniforms. Immediately they go inside to Colton Faddis for the lay-in up and in, and the lead is at 12 points as that's Jackson's biggest lead of the game. As Lake Stevens had a 9-point lead, Jackson leads by 12, a 21-point turnaround in this contest. Now Lake Stevens with it, moving to our left in their traveling purple uniforms with gold trim. Step-through move by Kavanaugh, puts it up with the left hand, no good. Faddis grabs another rebound for Jackson. Here come the Timberwolves out of backcourt. Jordan Brasich stops at the top of the key. He'll swing it to Saufer. Looking down low, Saufer still looking. Gets a screen there by Faddis. It gets a little bit open, and he'll put it up. It rims off, no good. Faddis grabs a rebound, back up and in. Pushed off and got Wyatt Wahlberg out of his way to grab that rebound. Looked like Bill Kusler pushing off. It
caused Pavitt. Pavitt was trying to double team Saufer to prevent the shot, and when Pavitt is outside, that gives Colton Faddis pretty much free range inside to grab that offensive board, and he grabs another rebound on the defensive end.
Lewis misses a 3 ball. Here's Brian Brown answering on the other end. It will not go. Grabbing the rebound there for the Vikings is Wahlberg, and he'll bring it out of backcourt to the baseline and knocked out of bounds by Faddis. Dante Lewis had it at the baseline, was going to try a shuttle pass along the baseline, but Faddis says, let's just reset it here. With 28 to shoot, 6:31 to go in the third quarter. Inbounds, shot on the way. That one offline. Wyatt Wahlberg misses, and Brasich grabs the rebound, brings it down, goes in, laying up, missed it, no good. Rebound controlled by Pavitt. Here comes Lake Stevens out of backcourt. Kavanaugh reverses it back for a 3 on the way by Lewis, won't go. Brasich grabs another rebound for Jackson. He quickly pushes it up the floor. In the corner to Saufer, up fake for the shot, doesn't take it, but he'll do a fadeaway 15-footer that will go. Actually more like 12 feet, up and in, and the lead is 16 points, and Mark Hines says, let's talk about it, Bill, let's talk about it right here.
Yeah, well, Lake Stevens really needs to get on the board. In the first half, Jackson out-rebounded them 12-2 and have already out-rebounded them 22-12. Now they've out-rebounded them 5-2 here in the third quarter. So a 27-14 rebounding advantage to Jackson. And Lake Stevens, cannot give them the second opportunities that they have.
25-point turnaround in this ball game. Jackson leads by 16 right now at 35-19. Lake Stevens had a 9-point lead. Jackson just turned on the Jets, and they've just been that's them way up in front.
Well, they did. They struggled shooting early in the ball game, and Lake Stevens got a couple of good looks inside, a couple of putbacks, gave them some confidence. But since then, Jackson has really done a nice job, getting good shot opportunities, and they're starting to put them down.
Elsewhere tonight in the Wesco 4A, Kamiak at Mount Vernon, Mariners at Snohomish, Monroe is playing at Cascade. In the Wesco 3A, Arlington at Marysville Pilchuck tonight, Everett at Marysville Getchell, Oak Harbor at Stanwood, Edmonds Woodway is playing at Shorewood tonight, Meadowdale at Linwood, Glacier Peak is at Shorecrest. Back to action here, Lake Stevens with the basketball. Dante Lewis has it on the inbounds as they'll work the perimeter right side to Kavanaugh. Now on top again, it goes to Dante Lewis. Now to Bardou, goes in, fakes one way, goes the other way, wouldn't go anyway, and it's going to be taken down by Kavanaugh, though. Lake Stevens will reload. as they swing it to the right-hand side. Bardou, that bounces off the side, no good. Put back by Pavitt, won't go. And the rebound controlled by Brasic again, out of backcourt. Down to Manalo, puts it up with the right hand, no good. Brian Brown is right there as the ball stripped away from him. And they're going to say ball was out of bounds as Lewis got a little deflection off the basketball, but he was standing out of bounds. So an out-of-bounds play here for Jackson at their own baseline.
With that rebound, Brian Brown gets into double figures rebounding already.
Parker Manalo as they swing it around the top of the key. We're going to call an illegal screen here. Illegal screen here. It's going to be whistled against Brian Brown. Brown's going to be called for the screen off that inbounds, and for Brown, his first personal foul and the first team foul of the second half against Jackson. And so here comes Lake Stevens down by 16 points. They've yet to score here in the second half. Here's a shot on the way. Bardou settles that, and he says, take this. And Bardou drains a three ball, really with a contested three ball, and puts it down.
And now Lake Stevens going into a 1-3-1 zone type action, trying to get a little more pressure out on the point.
Brasic almost lost the handle on it a couple times there, but he retains it. Now Saufer back to Brasic again. 17 to shoot. Saufer, boy, looked at the three, but suddenly he got double teamed, so that goes back to Brasic. Somebody's got to be open. Faddis, Saufer, he puts it up with a man in his face, puts it up, misses, no good. Bardou grabs the rebound. They could not penetrate that defense, and so they cast off for a long outside shot that would not go. Lake Stevens now with the basketball.
Lake Stevens going back to that zone defense that worked pretty well in the early parts of the game until Jackson solved it.
Trey Pavitt back to the basket, way out by the foul line. He'll back in against Faddis. A little spin move, puts it up with the right hand. It's up and good. The sky hook again goes in for Trey Pavitt, and it's a 35-24 lead.
Lake Stevens' offense starting to pick up a bit.
Here's Faddis, though. They get some offense as well, as Brasic has a nice bullet pass to the baseline, but Brown gives it to Faddis unselfishly, and he lays it up and in. 37-24, 13-point lead for Jackson. Now back to the basket is Wyatt Wahlberg. Turns, faces, and fires and puts it in. Wyatt Wahlberg just turned and fired it up from about 13 feet away, and it's 37-26, the lead for Jackson. Brasic out between the circles. On the dribble, bounce pass to Kavanaugh. He plays for Lake Stevens. We'll go back the other way. The purple shirts with it, putting it up. No good. Missed by Lewis. Back up by Pavitt. That's a miss from way underneath the hoop. And Saufer says, give it to me. I'll take it out of backcourt. Stop. Pop from 14. Won't go. Front iron. Misses. Wahlberg grabs the rebound for Lake Stevens.
That's what I like him to see. Rather than going out of control toward the hoop, he did the jump stop, put up the nice about an 8-foot jumper. Unfortunately for him, it did not go.
Here's Lewis. He'll put up a three. It will not go. Who's going to grab the rebound? It'll be Brown out of backcourt. He brings it up. Doesn't have the numbers. Goes into traffic, and they're going to call a blocking foul there. As Brown, I think, got way underneath and looked up and saw nothing but purple shirts and said, well, now what am I going to do? But then he gets fouled on the way down.
Well, Brown is really filling up the stat sheet. 7 points, but already 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal.
Dante Lewis with the foul, his second personal foul, first team foul, out of bounds, fresh 35 on the shot clock now for Jackson at the baseline. Connor Bardou will throw it in. Looking, still has it, hasn't got rid of it, and it's a 5-second. That's one, if you count 1, 3, 5. And that was the referee, Brett McIntyre, who was the Snohomish County Deputy Prosecutor. Don't make him mad, Bill.
No,
You can be in the Hoosgow.
Not me.
Another interesting story about Jeff Sidoris, one of the officials. Will tell you that in just a second. Here's a travel by Pavitt, and it'll be turned right back over to Jackson. Jeff Sidoris, one of the umpires tonight here, was an NFL replacement official, and he called the field goal no good New England game in the last weeks of the referee strike and got Bill Belichick mad.
And anybody that can get Bill Belichick mad is a friend of mine.
He just about, I guess, came unglued. But Jeff Sidoris also referees lots of the Seahawks scrimmages as well. So, but he's refereeing tonight. Rob Neifer doesn't have any story. Sorry, Rob.
Just make up one.
I'll make up one. Yeah. So here we go. Jackson and Lake Stevens. It's Lake Stevens basketball. Dante Lewis, Ryder Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh has the top of the key. Little spin move there. Back out to Lewis again. Lewis, he goes over the pass left-hand side. Backing in. And off the glass and in is Connor Widman. Backed in from the left side. and then went around to the right side for the lay-in. It's 28 now for Lake Stevens, 37. So a 9-point lead, which was 16 just a few moments ago. Jackson a little cold streak here. Salfer says, take this cold, but it's going to come up short. No good. That 3-ball way outside. Misses. Kavanaugh with the rebound. Brings it in. Stops and pops from 15 feet. Too hard. No good. Faddis goes high in the air. Grabs the rebound. Outlet to Bracich out of backcourt. He passes by Salfer. Goes right side to Old Taki. He'll put up with the left hand. It's up and in. Jackson with the bucket, and it's a 39-28, 11-point lead for the Timberwolves.
Stop the bleeding a little bit. Eltaki, nice move.
Over the left-hand side, Dante Lewis. Lewis looking down. Instead it goes to Pavitt out between the circles. Pavitt starts to dribble with the left hand, puts it up over the top of Faddis. Too hard, no good. Tap-up's going to be a miss, no good by Bremner, and the rebound controlled by Jackson. Bracich out of backcourt. Minute 8 to play in the third quarter. Jordan Bracich closed at the foul line. Kicks it back out to Salfer. Looking for some space there. He won't get it as a defender right in his grill. 20 to shoot. Salfer has it. We're inside a minute to play here in the third quarter. Salfer with the basketball. Still looking for a screen. Still looking for some space. But Marshall will get the basketball. Shoots and misses from 17. And Kavanaugh grabs the rebound. 44 to play into the third quarter. Kavanaugh lets the big guys go around him, and then he just patiently waits for everybody to go around him, and then he lays it up and in.
That's a good feeling when you do that up fake and people are flying by, and then you just put that nice little lay-in in for 2.
Salfer top of the key. About a 1-second differential from the shot clock, game clock. Game clock says 24 seconds. Old Taki, Salfer, they'll play for 1 shot. Bracich, no, it's going to be stolen by Lewis. Lewis just takes it away from him, feeds it to Kavanaugh. His lay-in, short arms are no good, didn't expect it, and then a foul's going to be called. Pavitt was on his seat. Marshall was going by him, and I think they're going to get Pavitt. They are. They're going to get Trey Pavitt for just the grab there as he was sitting on the seat of his pants. It's the second personal foul and the second team foul. 12 seconds to play in the third quarter. 39-30 lead for Jackson. They have the basketball. 12 seconds to go. Marshall will throw it in. Bounces it in. Manalo up the floor. Salfer down to 9 seconds, and he traveled with the basketball.
Widman set up to set the charge, and when Salfer was trying to stop and not get the charge, he drug the pivot foot.
So that'll take a few players off the bench for both teams. They're putting some new guys in. Dylan Stowen, first time we've seen him for Lake Stevens. And Brock Peterson in now for Jackson. Here are the final 8.6 seconds. And Lake Stevens with it. They bring it up. That is Kavanaugh. Swings it over to the right-hand side. Fadeaway on the way. Too hard, no good. That was a miss by E.J. Heber. And we have come to the end of the third quarter. Our score, it's the Jackson Timberwolves 39 and the Lake Stevens Vikings 30. This is Snohomish County Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com and Fox Sports 1380.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit Action.
Your dreams evolve, and with committed support, they thrive. American Family Insurance.
I'm okay. 3.
Are
Number 3.
are you okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
3. Are we on the air? 3 ranked Arlington Eagles. Well, they're ranked number 5 by the Seattle Times and number 4 by the Tacoma News Tribune. But Arlington and Marysville Pilchuck tomorrow night on the girls' side. Mark and Mike have the call here on Fox Sports 1380. Here we go, back to action at Lake Stevens basketball. Down by 9 points here into the fourth quarter we go. Ryder Kavanaugh has it. Little step through move, blocked from behind there by Ian Wilgress. And it'll stay in the possession of Lake Stevens with 19 to shoot. Bill?
Lake Stevens 5 for 19 from the field, 26% in the third quarter. Jackson 5 for 13, 38%. So the shooting, except for that one.
Ryder Kavanaugh drains a 3. and pulls them to within 6 points. Now here's Wilgress, closed off there, splits the defenders, goes up, misses the shot, kept alive by Jackson. They'll reload the offense over to the right-hand side. Parker Manalo with it. Out between the circles goes Islam Oltaki. Now Wilgress again. Bounce pass goes over to right-hand side. Brock Peterson had a timeout called by the Jackson Timberwolves. We'll keep it right here during the timeout and build what was a 16-point lead, now just 6 points here for the Jackson Timberwolves.
We have had quite the momentum switches in this ball game, with Lake Stevens being ahead by 9, and then a big run by Jackson to go up by 16, and then Lake Stevens now kind of whittling away at that lead and bringing it down to 6. So this is anybody's ball game here early in the fourth quarter.
We mentioned tomorrow night on Fox Sports 1380, Marysville Pilchuck at Arlington on the girls' side. Next Tuesday night, we're back with you. We'll be up at Arlington for the Stanwood Spartans and the Arlington Eagles, the battle for the Stille Cup of boys basketball next Tuesday night on Fox Sports 1380. Inbounds now for Jackson in their front court to our right. 24 to shoot, 7:17 to go in the fourth and final quarter. On the inbounds, they just work the perimeter to Manalo, who's open for a 3, and he puts it down. Parker Manalo off that 3. They just worked it around the perimeter to the left-hand side, and he was the guy that was open, so he drained it, and it's 42-33, back to a 9-point lead for Jackson. Now Lake Stevens with it as they work it around the left-hand side, and now over to the right side for a 3. That will go. That 3 ball by Markel McFerrin for the Lake Stevens Vikings. 42-36. Now Manalo. Marshall, and he's bumped. Bumped there as Marshall got it, then got bumped from the side by Markel McFerrin. That's who will be called for the foul. The 6'2 junior picks up his second personal foul, third team foul.
Only 3 team fouls on Lake Stevens in this half, and only 1 team foul on Jackson.
Brian Brown back in. Connor Marshall goes to the pine. They're not made of pine anymore. Now they've got these soft, cushy chairs. And a pushing foul before the shot went up. They're going to call a foul here. It's going to be whistled on Lake Stevens. And they're going to call it on the Vikings, E.J. Heber. His first personal foul and the 4th team foul. And so inbounds now for Jackson. Manalo in traffic puts it up, hits nothing but glass. Islam Oltaki grabs the rebound. He bounces it out to Faddis, yelling for a 3, didn't get it called. And Jackson with the basketball as they get a fresh 35 to shoot. But it's down to 17 now. To Faddis, down low to Brown. They left him all by himself, and Brown could not deliver. And out of backcourt, here comes Lake Stevens. Pavitt's going to check back in at the next dead ball. Kavanaugh with it. Right side, Dylan Stowen on the dribble across the top of the key. Swing it again in the corner to Heber. Long cross-court pass, but they say last touch by Jackson. So it'll stay in the possession of Lake Stevens with 16 on the shot clock.
Coach Mark Hine going with the signal. He touched it, he touched it, he touched it. The referee agreed.
So from the sideline, they will inbounds. Pavitt back in now for Lake Stevens. Kavanaugh dribble to the baseline, goes around a kind of a half-hearted screen there by Pavitt. Down to 6 to shoot, and a foul's going to be called. With 6 to shoot, they're going to call it on Parker Manalo, the foul, his first personal foul, and the second team foul. And so it'll be a new 35 to shoot now for the Lake Stevens Vikings. They inbounded at the baseline, down by 6, 42-36, 5:45 to play. On the inbounds, Dylan Stowen goes cross-court to Pavitt. Pavitt spin move, but it can find nothing. Back out to Stowen, puts it up, short arms it no good. Kept alive by Pavitt, back up, bounce, 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 and it goes by Markel McFerrin. Pavitt really caused that play to be good because he flipped it over his shoulder into his hands, and it's a 4-point lead at 42-38. Jackson led by 16 just a little while ago. Here's a shot. It's going to be no good by Saufer. He kind of goes shucks as the ball comes out in the possession of Lake Stevens going in. Kind of an off-balance, not the shot I don't think they were looking for by McFerrin. Saufer gets the shot on the bounce back up and in.
Brian Brown, nice pass for the assist as he got Saufer going, and that was a big turnaround after Lake Stevens kind of forced a shot, and they go back up by 6.
Now here's Pavitt. Pavitt at the right side, turns, faces, puts it up, an air ball, no good. McFerrin grabs the rebound, kicks it back out for Lewis, shoots a three, and hits a three. And the ball game is within 3 points at 44-41. Jackson by 3. Faddis working the ball to Manalo. He up faked for a 3, didn't take it. That would have been way, way out there. Down to Faddis in the lane, puts it up too hard, no good. Stowen grabs the rebound for Lake Stevens. Here come the Vikings. A 3-ball ties it with 4:20 to play in the basketball game.
Jackson has gotten some good looks. They just have not put the ball in the hole.
Dylan Stowen now to Pavitt. Pavitt at the right baseline, but kicks it back out as he'll swing it to the left-hand side to McFerrin. Now to Pavitt again at the left side. He dribbles into the paint. Back over to the right-hand side. Stop and pop for Lewis and goes. That's a 2 from about 13 feet away, and it's a 1-point ball game.
This looked like Jackson was just going to run away and hide, and Lake Stevens has just been a really gutty performance to get themselves back in this game.
A week ago, we were watching Cascade and Snohomish, and Snohomish pulled to within 2 on a game they were down by 20. In this ball game, Lake Stevens was down by 16. They're to within 1 at 44-43. It must be us. Hey, well, let's give these guys a good ball game. And we've got a good ball game here. Jackson basketball, 33 to shoot. They bring it out of backcourt. Manalo with a 1-point lead. In the corner, Sauferer tries to spin around. He does. He goes around 3 defenders and puts it up with the right hand and puts it in. It's back to a 3-point lead of 46-43.
Saufer now with 18 points on the night.
Kavanaugh traveled with the basketball. Unsure whether to stop and wait or to pass it off. He did neither and commits the turnover.
Now that really hurt.
Yeah, ouch if you're a fan of the Lake Stevens Vikings. So here we go, Jackson basketball. Up by 3, Manalo across the Timberwolf in the center of the floor. Saufer in the corner. Back to Manalo, puts the ball on his hip, swings it past right side, Bracich. Bounce pass over to Brown. Brown goes around to Faddis. Boy, they moved it. Everybody touched the basketball. Count the basket and 1 coming up here for Colton Faddis.
Brian Brown gets his 5th assist on the night. Beautiful pass inside to Faddis, and Faddis with the opportunity to get a 3-point play the old-fashioned way and give Jackson a little bit of leeway here.
48-43 right now. The lead is 5. Make it 6 with the free throw and a timeout called by Jackson. We'll step aside as well with 3:11 to play in the basketball game. Our score, the Jackson Timberwolves 49, the Lake Stevens Vikings 43. Snohomish County Western Conference basketball on STSBN.com and Fox Sports 1380.
Welcome to Bickford Ford, Western Washington's premier Ford dealership. We strive to offer you the best in customer care, selection, and price. Our sales, service, and parts departments are highly skilled, experienced, and committed to your satisfaction. Give us the opportunity to take care of you and your family's auto needs, and we're confident you'll come back again and again. That's the reason we've been in business for 4 generations and over 78 years. The Bickford family has served the community since 1934. We support organizations that make a vital difference in the region, including Northwest Harvest, Seattle.
It's a 49-43 for the Jackson Timberwolves. And Bill, already we're talking about our player of the game selection. Brian Brown's come to play tonight.
He only has 7 points, but man, 5 assists, 12 boards. And Colton Faddis with 9 boards. They have an opportunity to get 2 players in double figures in rebounds. As Lake Stevens now looking at a 6-point deficit, they had whittled it down to 1. And then Jackson has scored the last 5 points.
So here comes Lake, down by 6. Ryder Kavanaugh with it. Dribbles into the traffic, puts it up, no good. The putback up by Pavitt won't go, and Faddis grabs the rebound. That may have been their best chance at it now. Inside 3 minutes to go. Knocked out of bounds, and it was going to be off of Bracich's foot and out of bounds. Pavitt was right there. He never gave up on it, and so it'll be Lake Stevens basketball underneath their own hoop.
You never say die because you can get an opportunity like that.
Dante Lewis will throw it in. Looking to throw. Still looking. Still at the baseline. Back out on. He does. He gets it in. Over to the right-hand side, it goes to McFerrin. Now to Kavanaugh. Little spin move. Closed off there by Manalo. Right side to McFerrin again. Don't worry, be happy. Over to the right-hand side, Pavitt dribbles in, puts it up. It's going to go! Trey Pavitt puts it in for Lake Stevens. That's a 4-point lead, 49-45, 2.5 minutes to play.
And Pavitt, a good candidate if Lake Stevens wins this ball game for player of the game as well.
Brasic had a pass. It's going to be kicked out of bounds by Lewis, so they'll reset the 35-second clock. 2:25 to play in the game. And the lead is 4 points, 49-45. Connor Bardou will return to the lineup. Markel McFerrin will take a seat down next to Mark Hine on the Lake Stevens bench. Actually, Mark Hine hasn't sat down since about 5:30. Right side, that's Brasic. As they work on the left-hand side, way in the corner is Saufer, now to Faddis. And that means Brasic says he's wide open, but he shoots a three and he misses, and Pavitt grabs the rebound. It's a 4-point lead. That's 10 rebounds for Pavitt, and Lake Stevens with the basketball.
Pavitt with a double-double now, 14 points along with the 10 boards.
Connor Bardou, bounce pass it goes, back out to the top of the key. Pavitt closed off there, back out. Lewis, three, won't go. Way out topside, but the rebound grabbed by Widman. He'll feed it off, going in, lay it up, missed, no good by Lewis. And Faddis grabs the rebound. Out of backcourt, here comes Brasic. He goes in, and he lost the basketball. He knocked over a player for Lake Stevens, but a foul is going to be called out before all of that happens. And they are going to get Trey Pavitt with the foul. That's his third personal foul and the 7th team foul. So 1-1 here for Jordan Brasic.
And Jackson with only 2 fouls, so Lake Stevens far away from going into 1-1 themselves.
Brasic, first free throw, goes, rattles and goes. So it's a 50-45 game. 5-point lead now for Jackson, and make it 6 as the next one rattles and drops as well. Minute 39 to go. Lake Stevens needs something on this possession if they have a chance in this one. Kavanaugh brings it up, goes around a screen. Ryder Kavanaugh to Dante Lewis. Lewis bounce pass over the left-hand side to Widman. Now the corner to Pavitt. Can't take this much time. Down to 20 to shoot. They've used 15 seconds already. Connor Bardou will shoot. It'll go off the side of the iron. No good. And Faddis grabs the rebound. Now they'll have to start fouling, I would think, with a minute 14 to go. 28 to shoot and a 6-point lead for Jackson.
Fouling's not going to do them much good. They have four fouls to give before they get them into a 1-1.
So Jackson just holding it.
It's a situation where it's unfortunate to have few fouls.
Yeah. Here is Southford down to 7 seconds to shoot. They can afford to take this much time. 49 seconds to go in the game. Down to 3, and Southford shoots, and he hits an 18-footer for a 2 for Southford with 1 second on the shot clock. Boy, that worked out to perfection. Down to the baseline, Pavitt. Back out, here's Kavanaugh. Shoots, misses the 3, but he got fouled. Southford came over late. He was late to the party to try to block the shot and then hit Kavanaugh. And Kavanaugh will go to the free throw line. He'll shoot 3.
I don't know about the player of the game. You know, Faddis has a double-double, 12 points and 12 rebounds, and Southford has hit some really big shots here down the stretch, too. So we got 3 really fine candidates here if Jackson continues their lead and wins the ball game.
So it's 53-46 now with the first free throw good by Ryder Kavanaugh. The foul was whistled on Sam Southford, his second personal foul, third team foul. Next free throw is good by Kavanaugh. He's getting 3, so he gets another one. That's a 6-point lead now at 53-47. Widman goes to the bench. And Logan Bremner back in. Here's Kavanaugh, 3 for 3, gets a hat trick at the free throw line. 53-48 up the floor, stolen by Bardou to Pavitt. Pavitt has it, looking cross court to Kavanaugh. 25 seconds to go, and a timeout called by Lake Stevens. Well, isn't this getting a little bit interesting here with 24.3 seconds to go in regulation time. It's 53-48 Jackson on their home floor with the 5-point lead, but it's Lake Stevens basketball. The shot clock is dead but they need 2 quick scores.
They do. They're going to have to score, and they're going to have to foul. So at this point, you probably try to go for the easy 2. I think Jackson's going to try to defend that 3. And then if you don't get a steal on the inbounds pass, you have to foul. But you have to foul and foul and foul and foul because, again, you only have 3 team fouls. You have 3 more, and then the 4th one, you'll get into the bonus. So actually, that might not be a very good strategy to slow the ball game down that much because you're going to whittle down that 24 seconds. You really just got to go for the steal.
And so 24.3 seconds to go, and it'll be Lake Stevens and Jackson. Lake Stevens will have the basketball.
I misspoke. It's reverse. Lake Stevens can foul, as they do have 7 fouls. I misspoke. It's Jackson that only has 3.
And so Lake Stevens has the basketball. Jackson now breaking up their huddle. Lake Stevens is ready to go in front court to our left. Connor Bardou will throw it in from the far sideline. Gets the basketball, and here we go. Bardou to throw it in. Looking, goes out to Lewis. Little stutter step move, goes in with the left hand, puts it up and in. Lake Stevens with the bucket. It's 53-50, 18 seconds to go. Will they foul? They will. Bracich will get fouled in backcourt. 1-1 on the other end. And this foul here, and Bracich can, well, not ice it yet. Still with 16 seconds to go. The foul is going to be called on Dante Lewis, his 4th personal foul, and the 8th team foul.
Bracich is a good free throw shooter. They wanted to get the ball into the hands of Bracich or Salfer and have them take the foul. Just like the Washington Huskies want Andrew Andrews to take those free throws down the stretch.
Jordan Bracich at the free throw line. 16.1 seconds to go. Free throw, it's a miss, no good. Pavitt grabs the rebound. It's a 3-point lead. Down to 13 seconds to go. That's Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, will he shoot a 3? Looking to get rid of the basketball to Lewis. Down to 7 seconds to go. Lewis in traffic. He's now a timeout called. Wow.
Well, he called that timeout right before a travel, too. That was a big break for Lake Stevens.
Yeah, timeout called here with 4.5 seconds to go. 53-50, Jackson on their home floor with the win. Lake Stevens basketball in front court. They'll throw it in from right in front of the Lake Stevens bench to our left.
Jackson leading. Well, if you have any play in your arsenal where you're going to get somebody open for a 3 attempt with not very much time remaining, this is the time to do it. And so I'm trying to lean over. I can't see past Connor Bardou. I was kind of hoping I could see the play drawn up so that I could give you a preview of what's going to happen. But what a great ball game we've had. Is 2 teams both with big leads, and then all of a sudden down the stretch it gets really close. It looked like Jackson was going to pull out, with a 6-point lead about a minute ago, and then Lake Stevens hits a big 3, and now they're down by 3, 4 seconds left, and they have the basketball.
And I'm sure what Steve Johnson's one of the things he's saying is, for heaven's sakes, no fouls on a 3-point attempt. Because if it doesn't go down, you have a chance to put it in. So here we go. Bardou will throw it in from the near sideline in front of the Lake Stevens bench. See what Mark Hine drew up, and as Steve Johnson says, he'll take his timeout here. So they saw what was drawn up and see if Lake Stevens will change up. This will be a 30-second timeout. And again, we keep it right here.
Bobby Fischer, Boris Spassky, the chess match.
And we mentioned the earlier meeting back on the 18th of December. Jackson won it handily by 18, 82-64. But here, much closer, 53-50, and much lower scoring here with only 103 points scored so far.
Now, Lake Stevens' defense has gotten so much better as the year has gone by. That's why they've played so much better, as their defense has really tightened up, and they've had a nice defensive effort and held Jackson into not a typical shooting night for them.
So their longest winning streak of the year, 4 games. Longest losing streak has been 2 games for Lake Stevens. Here we go. Bardou will throw it in. Looking to throw it in. Hasn't yet. Still has it in out of bounds. It goes to Kavanaugh. Shoots a 3 on the way. It goes! And we're going to overtime.
Wow.
Kavanaugh in traffic, spun around and drains it from about 26 feet away, and it goes in.
And he called bank, too.
Yeah.
He banked that ball in. Well, that was not what Lake Stevens was going for. They were trying to get Dante Lewis open. Tremendous defense by Jackson. Finally, they give it to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, with 2 players on him, backs up and then just fires it, and it bounces off the backboard and in, and we are in overtime, a 4-minute overtime, tied at 53.
So both teams gathered around their coaches. Kavanaugh, he had traffic too. He had players in his grill, and he turned around and it just put it through. And we are going to overtime number 1. And here we go. Both teams are out there, and Jackson looks pretty fired up. I think you're like, hey, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Lake Stevens is having a lot of fun now.
You can see the progress that program has made from the last couple of years and early in this season until now. That was great poise by Kavanaugh to even get that shot off.
Faddis and Pavitt are in the center circle. Faddis was smiling. He said, yeah, this is pretty good. Here we go. Ball is in the air. We jump ball here to start the first overtime period. First overtime that we've had in quite a while. None this year so far. So here we go. Brian Brown with it for Jackson. Jordan Brasich, top of the key. A 53-53 tie. We're in overtime. Bad pass inside, but Brasich saves the day, finds Faddis, and he double dribbled the basketball. It started with a bad pass on the right corner by Brown. Brasich tried to save the day, and then Faddis couldn't control it.
Indeed, so Lake Stevens with their first possession here of overtime, tied at 53.
Here's Ryder Kavanaugh out of backcourt. Comes to the top of the key, dribble drives along the right-hand side, puts it up, blocked out of there by Faddis. And the pushing foul is going to be called. After the block by Faddis, a foul called. If this is Dante Lewis, 1-5, Dante Lewis, that's 5 personals. That's 5 personal fouls on Dante Lewis, so they lose their leading scorer. Now things get interesting.
They do indeed, as Lewis will go to the bench. He hasn't had a big game for them, is ending the ball game with 9 points, but 7 of those points have occurred in the fourth quarter, and he hit that big 3-pointer earlier to make a 6-point lead down to 3, and now they'll bring Logan Bremner in to take the place of Dante Lewis, who gets a nice round of applause from the Lake Stevens partisans behind us.
So Bremner in, if you didn't read the article today about Bremner, stick-to-itiveness, and here he is in overtime.
Yeah. Look online at the Everett Herald Sports page for today. Great article.
First free throw is good. Lewis is fouled out of the ball game. Jordan Brasich at the free throw line. That foul, the free throw is good. Makes it 54-53. 3:29 to play in overtime. Next free throw is good. Hit them both. 55-53.
Brasich 4 for 5 from the line.
And here's Kavanaugh out of backcourt. Hit the big shot to send the game into the bonus panel. Trey Pavitt starts the dribble. Backing down, lost the handle on it. Still gets it back as he retrieves it. Kicks it back out to Widman. Connor Widman on the dribble. 17 to shoot to Pavitt. Way out topside, or way out outside of the arc. Goes to Connor Bardew. Pavitt is there again. Gets it, goes in closer, pulls up, puts it up. Offline, no good. Brown grabs the rebound for Jackson. Here comes the Timberwolves out of backcourt. Over it goes to Minato. The lane is up and good.
Well, Brown gets a rebound, gets an assist, and Jackson goes up by 2. That's 13 rebounds and 6 assists for Brian Brown tonight.
57-53. The lead is 4 in overtime for Jackson. Kavanaugh now goes to the left-hand side. Dribbling in is Bremner. Puts it up. No good. Pavitt goes high in the air. Grabs the rebound. No over the top. Foul called. Pavitt gets it. Lays it up, and it rattles in.
Bremner with the assist and Pavitt with the board and the bucket. And Pavitt's having one of his best ball games of the year.
In the corner is Saufer. Now Brasich stops at the top of the key. He's double teamed there. Back to Saufer, back to Brasich again. They work it right-hand side. Dribbling in is Brown. Puts it up and it goes. Brian Brown lays it up and puts it in from about 7 feet away, and it's 59-55. 2 minutes to play in overtime. Here's Kavanaugh. Gets a screen by Widman. Widman gets it as they'll just work a little bit of time here. 20 to shoot, 1:51 to play in overtime. Falling down with those, and it's going to be taken there by Saufer, laying it up and in, and the lead is 6 points.
That's just a situation of trying to do too much yourself.
Yep.
There's a lot of dribbling going on in Lake Stevens offense. They need to move and cut, move away from the basketball, brisk passes.
Bardew loses the defender to Pavitt. He goes into the paint, puts it up too hard, no good. Battle for the rebound. Who wins it? Bardew stays with it, grabs it for Lake Stevens. He's double teamed at the baseline, and a foul is going to be called. Foul whistled here. No free throws. It was on the deck, and that's only going to be the 4th team foul, so out of bounds at the baseline. Minute 20 to play in the first overtime period. The lead is 6 points at 61-55. See if Lake Stevens is in a hole out of which they cannot climb this time.
Thank you, Mr. Grammer. Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Inbounds now as the ball was knocked out of bounds momentarily. Lake Stevens with it, down by 6. Here's a shot on the way. Kavanaugh, that one will not go, and Faddis grabs another rebound for Jackson. Bramner, or out of backcourt it comes. That is Brian Brown. Now Jackson can slow things down. A minute to play in overtime and a 6-point lead. Saufer has it out by the center circle as they work into Brasic. Lake Stevens may have to take a foul here. Manalo, 47 seconds to go, 10 to shoot. As Manalo has it on the dribble out between the circles. Bardu is on him. Now it's too late in the shot clock. Down to 4, down to 3, and off the fingertips and out of bounds. Manalo cannot hold on to it. It'll be Lake Stevens basketball and a timeout called by Jackson. And we will step aside with 38 seconds to play in overtime. Our score, it's Jackson 61, Lake Stevens 55. This is Snohomish County Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com and Fox Sports 1380. We have memory loss anyway, but I can't remember the last time that we did an overtime game. It's been a long time.
It's been years, and this is really exciting. And credit both ball clubs. Lake Stevens has put up a great effort, a great comeback effort. Jackson has shown a lot of poise here in overtime to pull into a 6-point lead. But now Lake Stevens with the ball, 38 seconds left, 61-55 Jackson.
And Lake will throw it in at the Jackson baseline, so they've got to go the length of the floor here. Down by 6, got to get some early offense, and they inbound it. Kavanaugh hit the big shot earlier. Goes into traffic, back out for a 3 on the way that will go. Good for Bremner. Hits it, 61-58. Looking for a foul here. They haven't gotten a foul yet, down to 21 seconds to go. Now down the floor, Manalo laying up and good. They couldn't get the foul on the other end. They got the easy bucket on the Jackson end, and it's 63-58 with 12 seconds to go. Kavanaugh goes around a screen, shoots a 2, will not go from just above the foul line down to 5 seconds to go. And now this ball game will come to a close as Manalo into front court. Widman will be called for the foul. On the foul, or they're just going to say out of bounds? Yeah, they're going to call a foul here with 0.1 second to go. And it'll be 63-58 the score right now. Parker Manalo at the free throw line for the Timberwolves. And the foul was called there on Widman, his first personal foul, and the 10th team foul. Violation there on Parker Manalo as he stepped over the line, so he'll get one more shot. The first one won't count as an attempt with the violation. And here's one more here for Parker Manalo. 5-point lead. And it's a 6-point lead with the next free throw. And that'll be an inbounds here for Lake Stevens. And it'll be the final score in overtime. The Jackson Timberwolves survive, and they win it by the final score of 64-58. Stay with us for the Wesco Rep postgame show. We'll talk to our player of the game, Brian Brown, coming up shortly. Again, our final score here from Jackson High School, Mill Creek. The Jackson Timberwolves 64, the Lake Stevens Vikings 58. You're watching and listening to Snohomish County Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com and Fox Sports 1380. Back live to the Jackson High School Gymnasium tonight. It was an overtime thriller, and the Jackson Timberwolves win it 64-58. Brian Brown is our player of the game, and he joins us here on the Wesco Rap postgame show.
How's it going?
Are you tired tonight?
I'm tired. I'm gassed. That was a very fast-paced game.
It was fast.
It was fast-paced.
There was a couple of times, in fact, our statistician down here, Buddy Patrick, said, could they slow down a little bit, trying to keep stats going back and forth?
Yeah, it was very – I mean, I like to run a lot to try to stay in shape, but I'm gassed. There's a lot of up and down tonight.
Well, you did a lot of work. You had 9 points, including the big bucket early in overtime to kind of get you guys going, but 14 rebounds, 6 assists, along with a steal, and there were twice where you got a rebound and an assist on the same play going down. So nice work with that. So let's talk a little bit about this. First of all, Lake Stevens comes out and really plays well early. You guys missed a few shots. So what did Coach have to tell you at the end of the first quarter when you were down?
I mean, it's finals week. A lot of us aren't in our groove. I mean, a lot of us studied before this, took a nap. I mean, a lot of us are really out of it. So, I mean, before it was just focus and intensity. So when we came out flat, he was just like, let's go, guys. Let's go.
And then you turn it around. You had a big run where you – what was it? At one point, it was like
by 16 points, a 25-2 run, I think.
Yeah, it's a big run to get up by 16, and then all of a sudden, Lake Stevens starts whittling back.
I don't know the name of number 2, but that kid can shoot. He can shoot.
Ryder Kavanaugh
can shoot the ball.
Yeah, and
he really got them back. I mean, even with their last execution play in the fourth quarter, I mean, we saw it coming off the screen. Played great defense, but he still hit it. Great shooter.
Yeah.
So talk about, this is not going to be good for you, but talk about the last play of the regulation when Kavanaugh got the ball.
So they lined up in a box, and we knew he or 15, Dante Lewis, were going to get the ball. So he got a double screen, came off. We defended it. I hedged out, and he still hit the shot. He's a great shooter.
Yeah, and he's a sophomore, too.
He's a sophomore. He has some good years ahead of him.
And then in overtime, I'm guessing in the huddle, it was like, okay, guys, we got this.
Yeah, just settle in. I mean, we kind of tried to go back to what we were doing in the second quarter, move the ball around, feed Faddis in the middle, who was open. Sam started getting going, and then Faddis was even more open in the middle. So fourth quarter and overtime were good quarters for us.
And Faddis had a nice game, too. I believe he had either 14 or 16 points. He had 13 rebounds, too. So you two combined for 27 boards. That's quite an effort. And hitting the boards was really important tonight. You got a lot of second chances.
They really crashed the boards hard. That's another thing that Coach tells us is we have to box out tonight because they will out-rebound you.
So now you guys got to hope for one of those top 2 spots, right?
We do. We have 2. So we play Monroe at Monroe this Friday.
Right.
And then next week's a big week. We play Cascade Kamiak. So that's another big week.
So good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Good game tonight. Go get some rest.
Thank you.
There you go. That's our player of the game.
Thank you so much.
Brian Brown with tonight's overtime win for Jackson, 64-58. We'll come back, have more on the postgame show right after this timeout.